Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're going to go ahead and get started. I was waiting. We had about 10 more people who had RSVP'd and didn't make it yet, so hopefully they'll manage to get here. But I want to respect everyone's time and get going. So this is the first of maybe future workshops that the WBA would like to host, and Lisa asked myself, I should introduce myself. I'm Michelle Dora, Economic and Community Development Coordinator, and she asked if I could put together a workshop for the businesses. And I'm happy to do that. And I want to make sure I get feedback from the businesses here in town on what would be useful to you. So we can talk about that later. I just wanted to briefly just talk a little bit about the Economic Development Committee, which is a committee of the town, which has members of the WBA, which is the business association, on it. Lisa and Fran are members. I think they're the only right now. So there's a really nice partnership between the Economic Development Committee and the WBA, working for the town to make sure that we are doing everything we can to support and promote our businesses here in town. One of the very first things that the EDC did years ago, before I was even involved, but Lisa was there and the WBA was heavily involved, was brought on board Explore Washington after quite a few years of conversation, trying other people, figuring it out. So anyway, I think most of you are familiar with Explore Washington, but it is the tourism website that is maintained by the town. So that is paid for by the town. And they do a fabulous job of promoting our town outside of Washington. They also maintain an events calendar for events here in Washington, and all of the social media and a whole lot of other stuff. So I just wanted you to understand that a lot of work went into that with the WBA in finding Sandor Max. I'll introduce Julia and Zoltan in a minute, but that is kind of how it came to be. That was through efforts of the town and the WBA together. The EDC meets monthly, and we work on all sorts of things, whether it's the working with the WBA on the guides that I brought some here as one of the projects that we did, signage for towns, improving our town centers, sidewalks, pedestrian safety, all types of things that the EDC is working on to try to make sure that the businesses that are here can stay and are healthy. We also, I just want to let you know that as parts of our conversation, we recognize some of the challenges that you all have to deal with. We know labor is a challenge. One of the things that the EDC has been working on is trying to get a daycare open, because we feel that that would help the people who live in town work here. We also know housing is an issue, and we talk about the fact that it's hard to live here, and that makes it challenging for you all to find employees. So those are some of the big things that we talk about, but we also do little things, whether it's town communications or others. So we have big pictures and small projects that we work on at the EDC. So this is Lisa, she's your WBA president, and she's gonna say a few words, but I also wanted to introduce Jim Britton, who's our first selectman. He's here tonight to answer any questions you may have about what the town is doing to support the businesses, or anything else that's on your mind. And I would love to let Jim go first, because he's got something he needs to deal with, one of the challenges of being first selectman. So come on up, Jim. Jim is also a member of the EDC and attends all of our meetings, which is really wonderful, because there's a lot of communication there. The selectman's office is aware of the projects that the EDC is working on, and that is really helpful. So,
hi everyone, thanks for coming out. Thank you for giving me the time. I just want to state quickly before I take your questions what I envision is the town's role to continue to partner with the business community. So we try to do small things like, I get grants and business associated emails across my desk. I unfortunately bombard Lisa and Fran with those, and I forward them right out to larger projects. Redoing the plaza, the Titus Block Initiative, sidewalks in New Preston, things of that nature are all, I feel, a priority, and the Board of Selectmen feel is a priority to help support our businesses. So that's what we feel our goal is going forward. I feel like the pandemic kind of pushed us all closer together and to work more closely together. I think that was one of the benefits that came out of that, one of the only benefits, frankly. But I'm happy to answer any questions of what you folks think you need, what's lacking. Fire away. It's an easy crowd.
I know, that's fantastic.
You had mentioned that you guys were gonna try and do different Wi-Fi things down in the pavilion. I know that impacted some of the vendors at the Harvest Festival.
Yeah, so Jay is actually working on that. Jay Hubblebank, member of the
Okay.
Board of Selectmen, he's our Wi-Fi guru. He's a little bit preoccupied right now with New Preston, trying to get their village a little bit more connectivity, but he's on that, and hopefully by summer we'll have something there.
Oh, great. Yeah, so when I talk to the vendors for October, I'll tell them that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good question.
You might be off. Oh, another one. Good.
Where are you at?
So Michelle and I talked quite a bit about this. There is grant money out there for it. The biggest thing right now is to get consensus among all the business owners. As you can imagine, that's a bit of a delicate process because the changes are gonna impact everyone, hopefully in a positive way. That's the goal, but there's also got to be some give and take. Parking is a concern of everyone. We had a survey done to absolutely delineate town property from individual business owners. I don't see that happening this year, just realistically, because a lot hinges on, again, bringing together, getting a consensus of the business owners and obtaining that grant money.
Yeah, I was just speaking with the engineer yesterday. It's been a long day. So trying to get that project ready for the grants that are out there. So we met with all of you. We got some concept drawings done, but each grant is a little different, and you have to tailor what you've done to fit what they're asking for. And one of the grants, I think I need to break that project out into phases because it's a large project. Well over $1 million to do that, and the limit on one of them I think is going to be 600,000 for this year. So I need to break it out into phases, which requires the engineer. So we are not forgetting that we've invested too much time and money to get it to where it is, to not keep working on it. But now we need to find some grant money. It's a great question. Yeah, I was just trying to think, we finished the sidewalk part in New Preston, and we're working on the Wi-Fi up there, but I don't think
It's
lock
got
for
some
a moment.
challenges, the Marlboro area of town, and that's going to be challenging. So everything.
Any other questions for Jim before he has to run? That's Fran.
And what is the timetable for voting on?
We've got till the end of 24 to distribute the funds. We've got one batch going out to town meeting next month. It was approved by the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance last night.
Okay.
WBA was in there, it was approved. So that should be done, I would say, by the end of February.
Yeah, I think that town meeting's February 23rd. Yeah, so anybody who lives here in town should come to that meeting to support the projects.
Yeah, as a business owner, I mean, if you're
You live
eligible
here.
to vote, it'd be great to have you there, because one of the things that's a housekeeping issue, it's our capital improvement plan. Approval of that allows us access to all of these state grants, whether it's low SIP, steep, town aid road, but we need that approval every year of the capital. So that would be big help.
Sorry, does the town meeting just hear who is receiving that first round of ARPA grants, or is it a vote on what the selectmen have decided it should be spent on?
Yeah, so we appointed an ARPA committee that reviewed and vetted all the requests and
Right.
applications. They sent their recommendations to the Board of Selectmen. We either approve or deny, go to the Board of Finance, they approve or deny, and then finally the town meeting.
Okay,
So this is just the last step. The first tranche, we had no issues whatsoever. It's, you know, you go through such a comprehensive process, people I think are comfortable that you've done your due diligence.
Will there be a meeting with the planning and conservation, or is there obviously from the plan together, for the addendum to our plan? There'd be a meeting with businesses specifically for that.
If there isn't, there should be. That's
Right.
Yeah, it's usually planning meetings, and I know that they were gonna start, they talked about the different village centers and they talked about the schools. But I'll make sure that they speak, and the EDC, obviously,
And knowing Wayne, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I remember him speaking at the EDC about having meeting each individual town, and talking about Marvdale, but I don't remember hearing anything specific to businesses, so I just thought maybe it'd be important.
yeah,
I think
that's a
we
great
should
idea.
do that.
So, think about that, you know, if you. Whether it's at one of the socials that you're already you wanna make sure we get some people there.
Yeah.
You could either invite planning to come to a WBA event, or they could have a special one specifically for businesses. So we could talk about the best way to schedule that so that the most people can attend.
Yeah,
And I'll reach out to Wayne. He should get it on his radar.
okay. That'd be great, thank you.
That's a good question. Yeah, for those who don't know, the plan of conservation and development is something that has to happen every 10 years. And this is the year that we're gonna be putting the next one forward. And there is a whole section about economic development and businesses it's supposed to drive the future of what we work on for the next 10 years of the town, whether it's zoning or planning or selecting. It doesn't always, but that's the intent. And so making sure everyone's concerns are heard is important.
There's gonna be a much bigger push to have that implemented because the boards and commissioners do a terrific job, but too often the POCD gets shelved. And all the initiatives that are laid out as the roadmap for the next 10 years just get not enough attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else? What else?
Person I was we wrote another on sign that was saying about restaurants. Just be nice to have a little more job. Yeah, but there's more going on.
I mean, I could speak to that.
I was gonna say, Lisa, I know that was on that.
I was on that committee, for the sign itself. And unfortunately, the businesses that were, south of 202 from that 47 intersection. Yeah, it is a true story. We're not happy about restaurants being directed left when there's restaurants being that way as well. So that's why restaurants got taken off of the sign. Personally, I'd like to see some sort of happy medium there. We had talked maybe about doing something else in addition to that in both areas so that everyone is kind of fair, fair, like, restaurants here, restaurants, kind of thing. But that is what happened with that sign in particular, and I was on that committee as well. It's really unfortunate.
thanks for trying.
Yeah. I was pushing for that.
That is something that we can maybe.
Yeah,
revisit, though.
I know, but honestly, it's something that should be revisited, and the sign honestly could use a little updating and. All those things kind of change over time. We've had a lot of new businesses come into town, so all that stuff I think does take some updating.
And maybe a possible solution is to leave the point is to add another one down in those villages that highlight their particular businesses. It's the state will become a marginally better to deal with encroachment permits. So I would certainly be happy to do some legwork on that.
Right.
Compromise.
I know, I think even some compromise on what it says, because those we can, without redoing the whole sign, we can change that, because I think. Whether it says town center or so, even if it doesn't say restaurant, it might, because right now, what does it say, museum? I forget.
It says
Museum.
Museums, hiking, like preserves and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it doesn't even really indicate that there's a town center of any sort. which,
Yeah.
right. So maybe there's a compromise there. Yeah, right. So that's a great, I think we should revisit it. And there's some new businesses everywhere. And so we could look at all the signs.
Yeah, I think in addition to that, we had talked at one point about doing some sort of a Bryant Hall Plaza sign, which we have nothing that distinguishes the fact that there's banks here, post office, you know, like now that the tree's gone and it leaves some opportunity for that area.
To highlight what's in the
Yeah,
plaza.
people really,
Right.
people on the food market, or, you know, everything, so it's just.
Yeah,
It's your town center.
All the time, and I just feel like there's a town hall, that's.
Yeah.
There was a petition, Shelley ran park out, like,
Yeah,
and there was signage for the municipal parking lot, and people would be aware
Or,
of
yeah,
that.
exactly.
And it needs to be-
which we definitely have talked about. I was kind of waiting. Is that light ever get put in? Do we know?
no, the lights up.
Oh,
The
really?
second one, yeah.
Okay, so anyway, I didn't want to direct people there until we had it lit, but yeah, but we definitely do, and we saw that during the large events, like, you know, we need to make sure people can find that parking back there for the Harvest Festival and for Holiday in the Depot and events like that. So that is great, and I know people drive around and send me pictures of signs, like, you know, the ones in Kent where it's very straightforward, it's like food, restaurant, you know. I think we should revisit that. We'll put that on the agenda. Good idea.
I don't know if it's possible, and at least in France, we know better, but what I've noticed is some of the closest employers to the municipal parking don't utilize it. I don't know. So you've been down that. Oh, never mind.
That is something that we all, you know, as the business association, as just whether they belong or not, you need to be mindful of trying to make sure that the employees are using that lot so that we leave the available parking for the customers. So that's probably something that's worth reminding every so often, and whether we do that through an email or we actually maybe mail something out to the businesses to say, hey, I don't know.
It's part of a broader collaborative effort. I mean, I see you employees park out back, and you know, I don't think it's a big ask. I don't
think so. I think
It'll go a
people-
long way. It's all
you know,
businesses.
and there are some people using the interior spaces because they're just an office and they're not thinking about retail, right? And so maybe just a gentle reminder would be helpful. I haven't figured out how to, like, what's the best avenue for that though? Like, we could talk about that. Is it a flyer? Is it an email? Is it just going door to door?
More than once, like you just need to bombard them, honestly. So I'm not,
Bombardment.
that's why I have to bombard my employees. But it just, you know, I mean, until you get the end,
Yeah,
keep reminding.
I think a lot of it is honestly business owners not telling their employees, because I talked to people who were like, we don't know that. No idea, or that there's money out behind the hall available. I mean, even honestly, like behind us, like on Hicks Road is parking technically, right?
it is.
Yeah. Right? Or.
No,
I think
that's in the works.
Plan,
That's in
that
the-
plan.
It's
Yeah, that's in the-
When it becomes one way, right?
yeah.
It's a little narrow. It's definitely not lined for parking. No, I don't know that that's,
the tightest plan was to utilize.
well, this part of
Right, well,
it's going this way
Yeah.
with some angled parking. We were gonna widen it.
Yeah.
Not on the back side though, because I don't think there's enough room to widen it between the buildings. I don't know that that's wide enough for parking and emergency vehicle access. Like, we would have to measure that, but certainly we can improve the signage to the municipal lot back there.
yeah.
That's,
We should go direct to Angel, because she has the biggest parking choreography dance. I mean, in front of Supply Company, I watch it with amazement.
oh,
We're backing out.
amazement, fear.
I mean, it's like going to a thrill show.
Yeah, I know. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at that parking thinking, what can we do to make that safer? But that's a conversation for another day.
Signs for like small cars only, and I think we did like very briefly, and they don't care.
No.
You know, it's, yeah, I mean, we've actually directed people out just because it gets crazy.
Yeah, and they throw pedestrians in the crosswalk.
Yeah,
Really,
It's just a free for all.
Yeah, I think we're open to ideas, I mean, you know, parking is, in front of businesses especially is very minimal, so. But we're open for safety reasons, I mean, I know there's at least 2 accidents out in the road, and then the other people running for a building. And those survived. Yeah, but that happened 3 times, so, yeah. You want to that is one right. Very, and, somebody hit the window, that was a bit of a surprise.
You know, that's. I was just talking with somebody, Claude, who's previously from the DOT, because I'm traffic calming down 47 is something that I really want to try to figure out. And there are different ways of doing that, and they have traffic, we did a traffic study and they have accident data at the state, but I don't know that they know all of that. So maybe at some point, if you could write down, just send me a narrative, because I'll put it in for the grant with the application. They always ask for a narrative, and safety is one of the huge issues that we're trying to address with the crosswalks, trying to get from this side of the depot to that side. And the traffic down 47 is an issue, so.
Yeah, they can put the gas use crosswalk. It's just so true.
It's frightening.
So most of us go, we go up towards the town hall for the entrance there, there's no more Friday and more things.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, I wasn't aware of that. Okay, any other questions for Jim before he has to vote?
thank you, folks. Good to see everybody.
Appreciate it. All right,
What's the
there is a Judy Black guest is the Wi-Fi, and then it is try Judy Black 2019. Try that. Okay. No, we were just looking. Is that right? It's on the cabinet door. I'll go look. If that's not it, I'll go look it up. Before I introduce Julia, I just wanted to let you all know that I put together a little handout up here. It just has my contact information, but it also has some resources. I get tons of emails about business workshops, about consulting, how to improve your advertising, all sorts of things from these various organizations like the Small Business Development Center, the Community Economic Development Fund. And I don't forward them all to you because it would be overwhelming. But so I want you to just be aware of these. You can go to the website, their websites, and sign up for their email list. Or if you have a specific need, always feel free to contact me. I'll keep my eyes open, and we'll see if there's something that might be applicable to you. I think it's the Economic Development Fund. Kirsten there, I'd say I printed the email, running a whole month long of free webinars on nonprofit organization and budget making and doing stuff like that. The Small Business Development Center will also connect you with an advisor. If you want to work on a business plan, if you're thinking of expanding, if you need a loan for equipment, they can help point you in the right direction, help you with the paperwork, all of that kind of stuff. So they're great resources. So always feel free to reach out to me or just go onto these websites on your own. I get weekly email. I would never want to forward all of that because I know we all get too many emails, but please take this when you go, because there's some good information there. So before we get to, I want to keep moving along because I know we have a lot to do, but I'd like to introduce Julia. She's going to come up and share the top 10 free ways you can promote your business. And it is Julia and Zoltan and their team that maintains Explore Washington for us and all of us social media, and they're fabulous. And before I let you go, I just wanted to let you all know that every 6 months, Explore does metrics update for us on their performance, and they present that to the EDC, and all of those are on the EDC's website. So feel free to take a look at that. You'll be able to see the growth over the years of the visits and the reach outs and all of the different connections that they've made. So please visit that. All right. Right. So Julia.
Thanks for having us. It's good to see everyone. Some of you I know, some I don't, so I'll come around afterwards and make sure I know what businesses or organizations you're all with, so I can put a face to the name. A lot of times we're behind the desk and we don't get out and about as much as we'd like to, so it's great to see you all in person. And I should have mentioned in the title that we're really focusing on online methods for promoting your business. And what we know how busy everyone is. We know how hard it is to run a small business. So we try to pick the sort of low hanging fruit, the things that you can manage. We could have had 100 tips, but we picked 10 that I think will make an impact quickly. And that won't take a ton of time to do. So we'll go through these, and then of course at the end we can do questions and answers. So thanks for having us. We'll start with the number 1 tip. This is like the David Letterman show. I should have gone backwards. The number 1 tip to promote your business is to use Explore Washington CT to its full advantage. So if you haven't really gotten familiar with the site, I suggest you go to explorewashingtonct.com and go through all the tabs across the top. You'll see starting from the left, I probably know it all by heart, but things to do. Okay, so this is a big attraction, not only for tourism, but people who live in the area as well, regionally, in town. A lot of people say, well, I didn't know about that park, or I didn't know about that. So, you know, it's for tourism on the wider scale, but also local visits for shopping, dining. You know, we know a lot of people, we're in Newtown, and we know people who come to Washington to go to the pantry. We have had a neighbor who used to come up all the time to buy us Christmas presents there and go shopping in town. So, you know, this is like one of those destination towns for shopping and lunch and dining. So we really try to leverage that as much as possible. So although our, you know, big picture is tourism and getting more people to discover the town, the things to do, the events, the shopping, the dining. At the end of the day, we also want people who live in town or live nearby to come to town. So they can be coming from 5 minutes away, or as we know from Germany, to see the Gilmore Girls track. So, so we go after all of that. So the most important thing on the site, I would say, is the featured events, the events calendar. This is where we keep on top of every event happening in town. The requirement is it has to be a Washington event. We get bombarded all the time from people in other towns, and we have to explain to them that this is for Washington. The only exception we make is if it's an organization like Pilabolus that is maybe doing something in Waterbury, or, you know, another nearby town, because it's an organization that is a Washington organization. So we do, you know, try to make exceptions to help the nonprofits. But as businesses, you should know that you can put trunk shows, sales, book signings, any kind of special thing that has a start and end point to it can go on the calendar. And if you go to the events calendar, there's a button at the top that says submit your event. You can submit your event and we will then read it, make sure everything's right, and publish it.
And that doesn't hurt you.
It does go well. So lately we've been putting almost everything on featured, because so when we started, we had the day-to-day community calendar. So there is a day-to-day calendar as well. But featured is the calendar that gets the most exposure. So yeah, we would put it on featured because we like to keep that as full as possible. I should have looked at how many events we've already posted, but it's like probably in the thousands at this point. And so the important thing to remember about your events, you know, the easiest way to get it up on the calendar is to submit it, and then we'll review it and post it. So yeah, that's the events calendar. So for tip number one, we have three things actually. We have the events calendar, actually we have 3 slides, but we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So I just wanted to show all the different ways in one slide that we can help out with promotion. So the events calendar, send us stories at info@explorewashingtoncd.com or on our contact form. Let us know what's going on. Do you have new seasonal menus? Are you carrying new product lines? Are you doing new services? And we can try to incorporate that into both social media and also ongoing blogging that we do. So every month we do 1 or 2 blog posts. We also update itineraries under the things to do and the visit town section. So we're always putting new stories up and new components of stories. So for example, Valentine's Day or Christmas or any kind of holiday offerings that you're doing, let us know about it. We try to watch on Instagram and see who's tagging us and then try to be able to feature things. But if there's something special happening, just feel free to reach out and email us. You know, seasonal is so important, not just for us on Explore Washington, but also on the state level, on the national level. Like if you can hook in something that's special and seasonal and timely, then it'll get a lot more exposure, and for us as well. And if you tag us on Instagram, so you'll notice I'm going to talk a lot about Instagram today. #ExploreWashingtonCT, your post will go right into the homepage at the bottom of Explore. There's a stream of business and nonprofits and just people who live in town, people who tag their posts go right into the website. So that's free exposure right there to thousands of people. Yes. Yeah, so if you tag it also, then it kind of comes to our attention more. So that, and the hashtag will stream right in. There's also a page under one of the sections on the top where it streams all the Instagram in. So it gets a lot of exposure, as well as getting found, you know, it gets found within Instagram. And then also the monthly e-news. So we try to get it out on the 1st of the month. So if you have something going on, if you could get it to us like the week before that, we'll have time to get it on the calendar, mention it in the e-news, or include it in a story we're working on.
Not the day of.
Not the day of.
Or the day after.
The day after. Well, we get a lot of day afters. We do, I have to say, because they're like, oh, holy, I didn't put my event up, you know, so we get that a lot. But I think we do our best to try. We do go out there and search, especially for the nonprofit organizations. We will go to their calendars, and, you know, the library folks, they're good at posting for us to submit their events, just so we know, because it's a lot to keep track of. And if there are things that change, just email us and we'll update it. We don't get upset about that because we know that things change. After going through the COVID times and having to change dates on things all the time, it's a pretty common thing to do. That's great. And then I also want to say, and this is something that Michelle can help with, and the selectman's office, is every Friday Jim sends out, or Jim's office sends out an e-news every Friday afternoon. So they're really good about putting in flyers, and any kind of announcements can go in there. And that's a weekly thing. And then there's the quarterly printed newsletter that goes out to everyone in town, into the mailboxes. So we also post that on the site, but Michelle can help you with the rules for that, because I'm not quite sure when that closes in terms of accepting stories. But those are 2 bonus ways that you can get the word out there. And then the next slide, I'm just giving a sampling of the types of stories we do, like, for example, yeah, there it is. So this is just, you know, if you go to the What's New page, you'll see the blog. And I guess about a year ago, we sort it now by season. So you can, and this is really helpful for everybody, not just tourists, but, you know, you search, you just click on autumn in Washington and boom, all the stories come up about autumn. And we have around town and what's new and things like that as well. But, you know, we're always looking for new gift ideas, restaurants, you know, any new menus, and we'll talk a little bit about photography, because something we are challenged with sometimes is finding good photography, especially in dark restaurants, especially with people in them, because sometimes they just look like empty restaurants. And so we'll kind of give you clues about what types of artwork or photography, I should say, we need all the time. Mother's Day, really anything seasonal, Valentine's Day, just feel free to let us know what you're doing, what your business is up to, or your organization, so we can include that. Okay, and two is, you know, I would say our parent company, CT Visit. So I was looking at their statistics, and ctvisit.com is the tourism website for all of Connecticut, and they do an incredible job of promoting Connecticut. And you'll notice the new thing is Find Your Vibe, like it's a really hip campaign that they're doing. It's everywhere. I was just reading that the new Penn Station in the city, like they have these giant electronic billboards, and Washington is on a few of them, because they have Pride Festival. They had the one of the other festivals at Spring Hill, I guess the regular summer festival. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, Grand Central, Penn Station, side of buses, subways. So the point I want to make here is they have, I think it's 7 million visitors a year, okay? And they have 13 million views a year. And it's free. So what you do is you go to the bottom of the website and you create a tourism partner account. You just put your business information. I think it takes like a day, and then they approve you. They want to make sure you're a legitimate Connecticut business. And then you can put your information in there. You could post events to CT Visit. So I would say big events that you want people to come to. Like we usually post Harvest Festival, Holiday in the Depot, and some of the big events. We go in there and post it. But even on the level of your individual businesses, you can post things. And you can tag them at CT Visit on Instagram. And they're really great. Their advertising agency is always looking for good photos, good things to write about, new content. So yeah, think about tagging them. And then each season, seasonally, they have campaigns. So if you follow them, look at what hashtags they're using. So for example, CT Vibe, that's their new big campaign that they've been doing for a while now. So if you tag CT Vibe, chances are, or yeah, hashtag it, they'll see it, because they look and they try to find, just like we find content from our people here in town, they do the same on the state level. So yeah, definitely tag. And quality photos. I mean, I can't say enough. Quality photos and seasonal offerings will get picked up. So you'll be surprised. I mean, they may message you and say, can we use this photo on our campaign? I mean, they've reached out to us many times and said, you know, can we use this photo, or do you have a photo of this? So they're really out there looking all the time. So, and I also use this screenshot because they're always looking for pictures of people shopping and walking downtown. So you'll notice that Essex gets picked up, Litchfield gets picked up all the time, because they have the little downtown shopping areas that are photogenic. So just think about that, you know, your storefront, people with shopping bags, people walking. If you see something, take a picture of it, and, you know, tag us, tag them, and get it up there, because they've actually asked us for, you know, downtown shots, which is always a challenge. And New Preston has the parking in front, and even here in the depot, you wind up getting photos of cars everywhere. So if you see something, please take pictures for us, and, you know, and it'll go a long way. But that's the kind of shots they love, like people downtown enjoying looking at windows, you know, sitting outside at restaurants. All of those shots do really well. And then you'll get in front of all their followers. All right, so this is probably, after us, the second thing that you must be doing. And tip number 3 is Western Connecticut Tourism. And Michelle probably knows more about how they operate than we do, but I think in the old days, each region of Connecticut had their own tourism board. right? And then when CT Visit really took off, they kind of reined everybody in and said, no, we're all on CT Visit now. But within CT Visit, there's Western Connecticut, Litchfield, and there are landing pages, which I was thrilled to see has a photo of the tunnel in Steep Rock on their landing page. So it's all about the quality of the photos. And so I would say the best way to keep on their radar is to tag them. So it's visit_Western CT. So they're trying to sort of do some of the tourism just for this area. So it's good to be on their radar, and maybe they have an e-news that we can follow. I'm not sure. But
They're
I
sort
know
of
they reach
rebuilding.
out. Yeah.
They have, and so they are, it's just a more direct way to help populate CT Visit in a more specific way. So,
Right.
I don't know about an e-news though. I'll ask.
Yeah, but if they ever ask for anything or want photos of anything, like I noticed recently, I was looking and they, you know, if you look at their Instagram, see what they're featuring and see whether it's something that your business can get in by tagging them. Because we're all always looking for good content. That's what it's all about. So, yeah. And then tip 4 is another regional website, which is Discover Litchfield Hills, which I think the cogs in some of the different towns in this Northwest region are part of informally or formally. Like I know they link out directly to Explore Washington from their homepage. But what we do is when we write a blog post, we post it on here as well, because sometimes this gets found, you know. I think most people go through CT Visit, like that's really the heavy duty place for tourism. And not only, you know, also local tourism, like what's going on this weekend. People would go on CT Visit, but this is another initiative. So you could take a look and see I think they have day trips, and then over here they have, I think it's cut off in my image, but they have stories. They call it stories. So you can upload a story about something. So we do it for any content that we do. We try to get it up on there if it's relevant, but you can just create an account and post a story. So the pantry is coming out with a brand new menu for fall. You can post it on there. So they're really good about doing that, picking it up.
I just wanted to mention too that the map that they have is interactive,
Yeah.
but you need to register yourself.
Right.
So everyone should. do
And
that.
we did notice, there was a PO box for a business
Oh,
instead of,
great.
well, yeah, the Hickory's there. It came up as a PO box, so it's really weird the way this works.
He crawled out and
Yeah.
grabbed stuff, so.
Yeah, it's real. So you see where it says create an account for your business? I think you need to go see what they have on their website about your business, because they did something called crawling where digitally they go out there and pull stuff in. So if they find something from, I don't know, a tax ID entry or the Secretary of State, they'll like crawl that information in. And so some of it is accurate and some of it may need to be refreshed. So see if your business is on there. If it's wrong, contact them and say, hey, you know, this needs to be updated. If your business is not on there, create an account and then just put your business in. Because as Michelle said, there's a way to explore by town. But basically it's a map with a lot of pin dots all over it, you know, colored, whether it's a restaurant, a shop. But it's worth doing, because at the end of the day, the more places you are, the more searchable your business is. So I would recommend, and you can post events on there as well. I know it's a lot to post, but I think once you get in the hang of it, you'll decide which ones are worth posting and which ones worth extra work for you. Okay, and 5 is Instagram. And it's funny.
There we go.
Technology. Let's see, who doesn't take pictures of their food every minute? So Instagram, we're going to focus mostly on Instagram for this, because there's so many different, I mean, there's TikTok, there's Facebook, there's Pinterest. I mean, it would be great to do everything, but as a small business owner, if you had to choose one or two, I would say Instagram and Facebook. And the difference between the two, you know, as it's stated, inspiration, discovery, and observation. Instagram is really visual. It's about discovering new food, discovering new places, new restaurants, new shopping, new hiking areas. So it's very visual. And it's a bit younger, not as young as TikTok. I mean, we haven't done TikTok for Explore Washington. It's all up to you guys, what you feel comfortable with. But I would say if you had to pick one, I would do Instagram. And there's posts, which is just if you post an image and write a caption, and most of you are already doing this. Reels, which are short videos, and those get picked up in the algorithm more so. But there's nothing better than a beautiful photograph, because we find with what we're doing, one beautiful photograph will get, I mean, we've had up to 500 likes on a photo. And you never know which one it's going to be, but every now and then, whether it's the lights or the holiday season or the fall, that's what really gets followed. But so yeah. Yeah.
I like,
Yeah, reels are excellent because people are just so in tune to seeing things move, and visually and also their algorithm makes them higher up, it's getting found. Yeah, and then stories. So whatever, if you push it out on a story is something that's available for 24 hours and it gets other exposure. So we'll see sometimes that stories get exposure by people who are not following us. So you just can look, and what's wonderful is the metrics that come with these tools are so easy to understand, and they're so easy to access. So you just click on insights and it'll tell you how many people shared, how many people went to your profile to, sort of learn about your business, how many people clicked on something to go to your website, and it's all free. I mean, free with a time investment, right? Anything takes time. But if you pace yourself and say, okay, I'm not going to post every day, maybe once a week, like you just have to get started and get going with it. And if you have an employee who's really good at photography, you'll find that they'll be happy to pitch in. So there are a lot of ways to leverage, your own staff for helping you out with Instagram. And then the hashtags are important. So hashtags are just like a way to find things. So you want to look at, and what I like to do is say, look at, an account that inspires you, an account that's doing something really great in your space, whether it's food or shopping or the nonprofit world, and kind of see what they're doing and what tags they're using. And then try to be relevant. So if it's like National Grilled Cheese Day or whatever, tag it and you'll get all these people finding you. And then we'll talk a little bit later about influencers, but you can also tag like Litchfield Magazine and some of the media outlets in the area, and maybe you'll get picked up by them as well. And then it's all about the quality of the photos, because there's nothing worse than a distracting photo, and I have to say, we do this at CT Visit, everyone does this, they pick and choose the best photos. So sometimes it makes me feel bad that I'm not featuring certain organizations or businesses, but I know that photo would not translate well on Instagram. So really try to up your game, and you can do it with an iPhone. It's not like you have to buy special equipment, but it's just about the quality of the photos. And yes, again, being seasonally relevant. And then we've had a lot of success. We just did one giveaway in town here, but we've done them with other clients. But we did a Gilmore Girls giveaway, and it was just like, went like crazy. And all the Gilmore Girls fans were tagging their friends, and before we knew it, we had tons of new followers, a lot of impressions, a lot of new mentions. But it is legal to run a giveaway on Instagram, but I don't think on Facebook. So we don't do them on Facebook, just on Instagram. And you just have to write, Instagram is not associated with this contest. But
allegedly.
It's legal. We haven't been arrested yet, and everyone does it. So, everyone does it. So there's power in numbers. They're doing it, so we're doing it. But, it can be a $50 gift card. It could be, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with, and maybe tie it in with some kind of seasonal thing. And usually what you do is to enter the giveaway. You have to follow your account, so sometimes you'll get new followers, tag a friend. And we usually let people tag multiple friends, so then those friends follow. And it's good because it's something they're interested in. So whether it's food or shopping or Gilmore Girls, you'll get the kind of followers that you want to get. Okay, and next. Thank you for doing that.
Sure, I switched my laptop.
Okay,
Okay.
good photography. So I was mentioning, really practice, stage photos. So whether it's a meal or the inside of your business or the exterior, or if it's shopping, don't have too much in the frame, and just practice and try and see what others are doing and come up with a way that you can manage to do this within your own time frame for your own business. And seasonal is really what it's all about. And we're running a contest we started in the fall, we're doing a photo contest. And we've gotten so many fantastic photos already. And I think, the businesses donated some gift certificates and folks are sending in their photos. And so this is going to help us. We're going to be like 1 year ahead now with the seasonal photographs. But now we're running winter, a lot of people. So we're going to do 4 times a year. The point is that, you want your feed to really look like the season that you're in. Whether it's how you display the books or the timeliness of what you're photographing within your own businesses or outside, anything that conveys this season is really helpful. And then again, repeating the idea of short reels or videos. And there's some great free apps out there. We use one called CapCut, CAPCUT. And it's an app, you just put it on your phone. You can bring in still photos, put music to it, or you can edit videos. It's so easy and it's absolutely amazing the power of this little tool that's free. So and there are a bunch of them that do that, but CapCut is one of our favorites. And we've been reading up, and in terms of reels, I think like short reels with good music get the most attention. They come up much higher in the feed for people. Okay, thanks. We can take this on the road. And don't forget Facebook. I know this looks like an afterthought, this slide, but I didn't mean it to be that way. It's just that we get a lot more traction on Explore Washington on Instagram than we do on Facebook. We still post on Facebook, but the trick is, whatever you do on Instagram, just shoot it over to Facebook. That's the easiest way to stay relevant. Events do really well on Facebook. So if you're having a book signing or anything that's a special event, a trunk show, you can create it not only as a post on Facebook, but you can create it as an event. So we usually do that for the big events around town, the town-wide events. And then for some reason, events on Facebook do really well. And, answer comments if people, post on there, you want to be on top of it. And more localized content. Typically, it's about families, it's about areas, communities. So in general, the difference is Facebook prioritizes personal connections. So families and friends, groups, which is not bad because, you get recommendations for your business. But Instagram is sort of wider reach. People just look, if they like something, they like it, and they learn about something. Okay. Ta-da, my favorite thing. So this was, we wanted to talk about influencers, and also the other aspect of this is like working on things together, businesses working together, like the power of leveraging each other, because on Instagram, you can do a collaborative post. So if 2 businesses want to come together on something, it gets exposure for both businesses. But we also wanted to talk about influencers, and influencers can be anyone from just someone who comes for free and loves Gilmore Girls and takes pictures and gets thousands and thousands of views on their post, and you're not paying them to come to your business. So some of our widest reaching influencers are the Gilmore Girls fans. The other type of influencer, like Unlocking Connecticut, which used to be Unlocking Litchfield. A lot of you have already worked with them. They're great and they're local and they don't charge a lot. So this might be something that costs, even though my title is free. Sometimes they may pick something up for free, but paid mentions are something to consider, because what they'll do is they'll come to your business, they'll have lunch, or they'll go shopping, they'll dress up, they'll get their hair done, and then they push it out to all their followers. So some of the businesses, especially in the depot, do really well with the free influencer stories from the Gilmore Girls fans. And yeah, any way you can get Gilmore Girls into your social media, if you feel comfortable with that, whether it's coffee, or anything Gilmore, do it, because you'll get a lot of followers. And these people actually come to town. Fran was saying people were there, I think today, from visiting. So, they're always, we were in 5 Janes and some people came from Germany and they were like, look, you always see them looking around, like trying to figure out which are the Gilmore Girls related businesses. So we try to leverage that. We have several blog posts and itineraries on the site. It's the biggest, I don't remember the numbers of thousands of views, which was mind-boggling. But one of the itineraries we do, where we point out all the businesses and the depot and New Preston, it's just off the charts in terms of how many people actually look at that post. So I would say, just see what's out there, maybe search Gilmore Girls and see what comes up. See how it could relate to your business and how you could leverage that. But, whether it's hotels, sometimes they'll give a free night and someone comes and they photograph it. And I think the Mayflower probably does, because I see a lot of people just, doing these amazing photographs and very personal stories of their experience at a hotel or at a restaurant. So read up on influencers and kind of see which ones you think would bring something to your business. Okay, and 9, we have request press mention. So old-fashioned press is still good, it's still great, and whether it's a magazine online or print magazine. So locally you have like Litchfield Magazine, which covers a lot of business stories. Local newspapers, Edible Nutmeg, if you're a food-related business, they're always looking for good content. So it can't hurt to just reach out to the editor and say, hey, we're doing this new thing now. Do you want to write a story about it? And they probably will, especially in our area, where it's not like New York City, where there's so many stories. So interesting stories will get through to the editors. Cottages and gardens, if it's anything related to decor. And, so there are a lot of magazines that still will do editorial content without you having to be an advertiser. So it's worth looking into. And if you don't ask, they won't do it. So you can try. And I mentioned press releases, but so events, trunk shows, new product services, seasonal menus, anything like that could, and some of the magazines have like little areas where they'll do little sound bites, so you may get included in something like that. And the story pitch. Press releases are so boring because we manage them for Washington and for other websites we work on. And a lot of times press releases, and I understand they have to be formulaic, like there's a format for it, but sometimes they're so boring. So sometimes you just want to break out of that and say, hey, here's the story and here's some great photos, and it might get picked up that way. So you don't have to know how to write a formal press release to reach out and get attention. And then finally, your website. Don't forget your website, okay? Nowadays, everyone sort of is doing the social media, and sometimes you go to the website and it's completely outdated. So you don't have to redesign your website, but just get some fresh content up there. Make sure you're linking to the social media accounts that you're active on, so that, if you get found on your website, they know to check you out, because that's really, like, even when we're looking to write stories, we're on Instagram, seeing what people are posting, what's timely. But you should keep your content fresh. And keywords, I don't know if you are on the platforms where you could go in and add things yourselves. you want to make sure that you're using keywords that people are searching for. So whether it's launch Litchfield Hills or, just think about what types of searches people would put in and make sure that content is on your website. And there's something called alt text on photos. So some of these self-service websites let you go in and the names of the photos are so important in terms of searchability. So we always try to name photos for what that story is about. So just a tip, or if you use a web person to do just make sure that they're tagging stuff on your website. And then, last but not least, related to web, but also where are you on, what listings are you on? Are you on Yelp? Are you on TripAdvisor? Go and check out and see whether you claimed your listing yet. Google Business Profile is what comes up when someone searches and comes up on the side. Try to claim your listing if you haven't already done that, and you can add things to that. You can add hours. You can go in and update that all the time. So you definitely want to do your profile and also claim listings. And I believe Yelp and TripAdvisor let you do a lot of things for free. They have paid accounts too, but you don't need to do that unless you're like a huge restaurant or, a big hotel. Most of the listing capabilities that come with the free account are good enough for small businesses, and it will make a difference if you go on there and just make sure your listing is up to date. And that's it. I think that's all 10. I don't know. Is there another slide? No, that's just a picture of Judy Blackhart, which is one of our favorite photographs by M3 Media Pro. They took that picture, and we've got so many likes and compliments, and I think it really captures the town so well. So I wanted to end with that. Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
That's early on that picture.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
No, that's a good one.
It's great because town hall is peeking in the background. It's just has like
There's
everything.
people out.
Yeah, it's just, I love it. I love it.
It's a good one.
Yes.
Your presentation class?
Yes, Michelle,
So
you'll.
have it, and I'll make sure I get it posted, and then I'll just try to remind myself to tell it. So,
We're gonna share it.
you'll share it? Okay, excellent.
Any other questions?
So post versus story. So which do you think has more?
I think they both, I think you have to do both because the post remains on your feed. So if
Yeah.
someone wants to see, oh, what kind of shop is this? When they look at the posts, if they go to your profile, you control that and it stays there forever, right? And they can scroll down. Whereas a story is 24 hours. And then a story can be saved to the highlights, the little highlights. If you really want to do everything you can possibly do on Instagram, there are little circles with highlights. So you could have, say, different seasons on there or different types of products. So the stories then get sent to the highlights. But I would do both. And it's very easy to take a post and just push it out to your stories. The thing about stories is you can put a direct link to your website. You can put stickers, you can put polls. There's all kinds of things that you can do. You can ask people questions and get feedback. So it's only 24 hours, but it's amazing how much interaction you can get through the stories. So I would say to do both. And you could do stories that are not what you post, like a quick view around, it's very visual, and videos do well on stories as well. So, but
one thing that somebody had just mentioned, I haven't done it, so I don't know, I didn't see it for my options. But when you talk about music for reels and for, like, as a business, when you go trying to do that, you have all the crappiest of music.
Yeah. So
but they said, somebody had mentioned, like, if you could switch to a creator,
then
then that changes it, and then you can use all great music, normal music.
well, we use CapCut because that lets you use any kind of song. You can search by genre, by anything, and you legally have the rights to use it because you're using
And it's
that.
like real music.
Yeah, really good music.
But-
Not, you mean not like stuff, yeah.
Use it. Yeah, stock photos. He gets, stuff.
Stock house.
Yeah.
But the ease of just popping in an image or
Yeah.
a video and it's all in one place, so that's. I can find out for you, but if you change to creator, then but what you are is a business, right? Your DNA is a business account, so. If you
Wow.
don't. Profile yourself as that, it may be deceiving, but let me look into that for you about the music options.
So
Because-
on Catchback, you can create the whole thing with the picture and the music and then post back on.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I have.
And it's easy because, you know, you could bring in different film clips, different photos, if you just want boom, 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 you know, just a series of photos. And the music is really helpful, like we find we bring in the music first, depending on what kind of beat or tempo we want. And then it just makes it so easy to pop the images in. And then you save it saves it as a video, and then you just upload it as a reel. It's one extra step, but it gives you a lot of control. It almost has more features than you need. But we found the music is really good on CapCut, and if you click on trending, so supposedly if you use trending music, that also helps the algorithm. So, you know, you want to sort of sort by what's trending and go with that. But, yeah, I mean, it's not easy, but if you could just master a few of these tips, you'll see a difference. And I mean, we've done something where I think I had it on one of the slides with a sweater with W on it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
and you did it in front of the Poe, and so anything you do around town. So sometimes you want to get outside the shop and, you know, do things around town, and there's a big following that way just through Washington. And also geographically tag your posts so that people know how to find you. Okay, thanks. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for having me.
You, Lisa, sorry, we're running late.
Yeah, so,
Go ahead. I think everyone here knows.
yeah, but obviously, we just wanted to make sure that tonight we brought Julia in to give, you know, some sort of workshop for everyone to give them ideas as to new things that they can do. And it was great having Jim here. And also, you know, there's a bunch of board members here that are, willing to listen to any ideas that you guys have for the WBA. So, and also we're trying to recruit people to help us with some of the stuff that we're working on in terms of recruiting new members, outreach to the schools, working with the town, in terms of the WEDC, working on some of the events that we do, Harvest Festival, and on the Depot, and Block Party's the next one actually in June. And then the website, yeah, we're gonna be updating our website, which Jim was just talking about, the ARPA grant. We requested funding from the ARPA grant for the WBA website, which we, like you just said, we did get, access to that money, so it's gonna be coming to us, which is great, because the website is starting, we're starting to redevelop and kind of rebrand some of it. So we would like some input on that as to what people would like to see there, so we did put some signups there for some of you that are not. Almost 80% of people here are board members, so 20%. Feel free to sign up for something or reach out to us if you have any questions. And then we have this survey that was sent to your email. That is kind of just what you would like to see from the WBA itself. So what can we do to help you? What can we do to improve? What do you like? What do you not like? That stuff. So we've gotten a few responses so far. We're going to do another request out. We've only sent it once, and we would really appreciate some feedback. So look for that in your email as well. And we're going to do another workshop. We have some thoughts as to what that's going to be. So we hope to do at least 4 workshops a year, and we're going to be starting a networking monthly meeting on Monday mornings at the pantry with a speaker per meeting from 8 to 9:30.
So it's gonna be a business and breakfast.
Yep.
The goal is to provide more value to membership and bring in new members, nice kind of start. So it's been kind enough to offer the host it. We're gonna do the continental style breakfast, it's $10 a person, and nothing, it's just very good to do that. And we'll have a speaker every we reach every month. It's the third, Monday, which is starting on the 20th. So I'll have to get information to Julie and Michelle.
Yeah, we'll send out.
Please. Full membership is.
Yeah.
February
20th.
Is it President's Day?
Yeah, it's not too much.
We're not even thinking.
Maybe not people are. Yeah, that might, it could be an advantage.
That could be.
Yes.
No, it could be, I guess it's paid, yeah, it could be multiple business, you know, yeah, it's. Everyone, yeah. Potential.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you get it finalized, we can add it on the calendar and get more members. Thank you.
And, yes, thank you for coming and please conclude that Zoe brought, which is great, thank you. Oh, but yeah. Yes. Oh. It's a good question.
It was a really good day.
It was a big day for everyone, yeah, it was a really good day. So there's been a couple different discussions about that. There was a discussion about maybe getting a group together to kind of create one of our own, which I actually think might be a better possibility, just because of the restrictions with working with the people that we had before. Because I don't necessarily believe that you need the actual Gilmore Girl actors to make it a great festival, because we have what we have here. So, but I mean, I guess that would be something to put a group together to really come up with what they think is best, because obviously reaching out to Jenny is not a problem for us, because we have a great connection with her. They moved it to Maine. I don't know if you got to follow them. They moved it to Maine this past year, which didn't really have a connection to Gilmore Girls at all. It had a connection to the people who run the festival. They had a connection to me. They didn't announce where they're moving it yet for next year, but it's coming soon. It's not here, obviously, they haven't contacted us, but, so yeah, I think it's like a balance, like it's good for one with them, and it's kind of maybe good to do something on our own. I think that there's probably a group of people that could put something really great together and the reach is easy. We obviously have a reach. We're reaching the people that come. You don't necessarily need the festival people to reach just those people that they have reached. I mean, obviously they have a connection with a group that they have, you know, that are committed, that are coming every year, but I'm sure there's an opportunity to find other people. So that's just my thought, but I'm happy to, you know, put a committee together that would like to think about doing something, which I think would be great. It's like Julia says, it's top search on there every year.
I think anyone who can capitalize on that.
Yeah.
You should really get them to speak out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just here, I should have thrown that out there.
Yeah. But I was like,
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The truth is, last time when they know we don't have.
I know.
Wanting a picture, what we love.
Yeah.
see, we're losing the lunch traffic, because if they go there, they might eat lunch in New Milford and not here. We need
GW still has one down there. But it's hard to. I know, I remember when we, yes. When we were down. I remember festival, we looked at renting a gazebo. It was outside the budget, but we did want one. We tried. So, and actually it was.
I've thought about trying to get it in my budget.
But they have.
Over sign.
I know.
I mean,
Exactly.
welcome center.
You gotta pick your battles.
It's $550.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. We could just, it's a senior project. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
There's a spot for the gazebo right there in River Park.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I know.
And then
my
does really great gazebos that on your green,
Yeah.
they're phenomenal. So yeah, maybe we should do a follow on Instagram.
I know, Washington, well, I can tell you this.
Oh, yeah, and they'll be then all in my office writing letters about so,
Exactly.
yeah.
So, Yeah, I think that's a good idea, thank you.
Keep 'em around.
So we don't look like,
Good, all right, thank you all so much for coming. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Grab one of these, also, and make sure that you guys are all stocked. with your-
yeah, it goes right. I don't wanna break them.
You know,
I don't think-
So like, they're, they were doing stories.
all right. I'm gonna stop the share.